Okay, we are live. I am going to screen share really quick. All right. Okay, so I'm assuming that you can see my screen, and if you can't, then just simply unmute yourself and then yell at me. But I'm just going to kind of walk through this here just so we can have a timely call. So tonight we are talking about figuring out how to balance this job that we have as coaches and normal life and possibly another full-time job on top of that. Because let's be real, if you want to make a substantial momentum push towards making this more of your real income than just like a hobby, there's definitely a balance that you have to kind of figure out. And I've learned the hard way. I've had a lot of tough conversations with my husband over how much time I put into this. So I'm just going to kind of give you what I have learned over the last 10 months of being a coach, because that's really almost to the day it's been 10 months that I signed up. So I've learned a little bit. Not a lot. I'm not a genius, but I have some insight to give you. But before we dive into that, I want to just share a couple of announcements for our team. Success Club for May so far. Beth is in Success Club, and a lot of you have points on the board. Honestly, today's the last day, and if you are logging on, if you could just mute yourself, just so we could keep the background noise to a minimum. And if you don't know how to do that, just holler at me and I can do that for you. And so Beth is in Success Club, and we've got a couple hours left yet of May. So after this call, if you are motivated and wanting to just put your nose down and get to work, the 21-day fix challenge packs and the extreme challenge packs went on sale for $20 off this afternoon, so they are now $140, which is crazy awesome. And just follow up with some people and let them know that there's a deal going on right now, and you could honestly, it's totally doable to hit Success Club in a matter of hours. So, but that's a decision you have to make if you want to do that. The June team call, I'm super excited about this. There is another Diamond coach. Actually, she's a 3-star qualifying Diamond coach on Team Pivot. Her name is Gretchen. You probably have seen her in the arena. Her team and our team are going to do a joint call in June. Her and I are pretty much we've been at the same spot in our business the whole time that we've been coaches, kind of running alongside each other. We're not success partners or anything, but we chat a lot in Messenger. And so we thought it would be fun to do a joint team call. So look forward to that at the end of June. And then Super Saturday, if you have not been to a live event, you need to put it on your bucket list. And obviously Summit coming up in July is the pinnacle of live events. But that's pretty much sold out, so you can't probably get into that at this point. I wish I was going, but I've got a family wedding to go to that weekend, so I'm going to miss out on that. But next year I for sure plan to go. But the Super Saturday events are local events, and they are hosted on the same weekend all around the country, so that people can go just for an afternoon and get some personal development and workshop training. So that is coming up on August 6th. I bought my ticket today. It's only $10 because it's so early. $10 for 3-4 hours of personal development and learning from other coaches is a steal of a deal. It's just north of the Twin Cities, and anyone around me can carpool with me. And if you aren't from Minnesota, I guarantee that there's a Super Saturday event within an hour or two from where you live. So all you have to do is Google Super Saturday August and whatever state or city you want it by, and it will pop up. Highly, highly encourage you to go. This will be my 3rd Super Saturday. and you go and you learn and you absorb. It can be honestly life-changing just to be around that excitement. So put that on your calendar. Somebody is not muted, but I can hear, and it looks like everybody. Okay. All right. We are going to move on. Okay, so let's dive right into this. So with this whole work-life balance also comes just figuring out, maybe you don't have a whole lot of support, and this could be your boyfriend, it could be your spouse, it could be your best friend, it could be your mom, it could be your grandma, but not having that support and honestly it's mostly because they don't typically understand what you're doing. It's difficult at times. Actually, a lot of the time. So honestly, the best thing to do is to make sure that you're communicating with these people and just being open and honest with them, and figuring out, are they not supportive because they don't get it? Are they not supportive because of, something in particular that, bothers them? But just, hold on. I'm going to mute some people. All right. Okay. So just talk to them, and the second thing is to put on your blinders, because you're probably going to have some haters, regardless of what you do. If you're the nicest person on earth, there are still, because haters going to hate, and you really need to just put your blinders on and only focus on the people that are really, the opinions that matter to you. If it's just a neighbor or a friend or something, you need to just, focus on the important people. And along with the blinders, the biggest thing I think with family not being supportive, at least in my house, is I wasn't able to put blinders on with my business. So I would be with my family, but I would be either thinking about my next post that I was going to put online, thinking about conversations I was having with other people, or I would even be on my phone and not focusing on my family. So that's where my lack of support stemmed from, was I was not spending enough time focusing on my family, because in the beginning of this business, there's a lot of legwork and time that you have to put in so that you can build something substantial, so that you can have more freedom down the road. And so I was really struggling with finding that balance between working a full-time job, being a mom and a wife, and building this business at the same time. So I've only now just started to, I wouldn't even say master, but figure out how to do that within the last month or so, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And then the last part of this slide is there are obviously a lot of skeptics out there. I was one of them. My husband was one of them. You were probably all a skeptic at the beginning or before you signed up, and there's definitely a lot of critics out there. So just know that that's inevitable, and if you just keep shining your positive light on social media, just don't give them any reason to, well, some people are just going to hate no matter what, but as long as you're positive, you've got nothing to explain or defend or anything like that. So just know that the skeptics are out there, and honestly, if they turn around and join your team, they become the best coaches because they know what it's like to be on the other side. So welcome the skeptics and the critics. Okay, and I also asked Chad a couple of questions. I asked him 4 questions. I'm going to let you read through these while I run and turn the lights on because it's getting dark in here. So you read through those questions. And I'm just going to read his responses to these 4 questions. He So I asked him the first one, what's been the most difficult part? And I knew what he was going to say, but I wanted to hear it in his own words. So this is what he wrote. The hardest part was having you distracted at times during our family time together because you were trying to fit in this work in your free time at night and on weekends. Also trying to get everything done around our house before 8 p.m. so that you could have a couple of hours of free time to work on this business. Like I said, thank you for taking the time lately, for putting down your phone. Best advice for others is to stick to the regular set office hours. And I'm going to talk about office hours next, but like I said, within the last month is when I've just started to actually figure out that I cannot have my phone around me when I'm with my family because it's constantly lighting up with, something. And then I get distracted and I'm not focused on them. So I literally have gotten to the point where I'm able to put my phone in another room and then I don't think about it. Because honestly, our job is not life or death. Like, I don't need to message these people back immediately. I can message them back in a couple of hours and it will still be the same. So our relationship has gotten infinitely better just from that simple task. And what he's talking about of getting everything done before 8 p.m. is, I work until I get home at 4 o'clock after school, and then from 4 to 8, I'm, doing the laundry, cleaning the house, getting everyone dinner, everything like that, getting my lunch prepped for the next day so that as soon as 8 o'clock hits and Mari's in bed and Chad goes in our room and gets ready for bed, I have those 2 hours from 8 to 10 p.m. to just solid work. Like, those are my 2 hours of just beach body time. And so in order to have those solid free 2 hours, I have to work my tail off from 4 to 8 p.m., which I won't ever have to do again. Well, for, while I have my leave of absence, I can do all that like house stuff during the day. So our life is just going to be infinitely more free, not being at school working. But so that honestly has been the hardest part of this job, is just figuring out that balance. And everyone's going to be different, but I've figured out that I literally just need to put my phone somewhere else and just put it away, put it on silent. If there was an emergency and someone needed to get a hold of me, Chad's phone is on him, and that's just how we roll now. So I have to put my phone physically away from me because I can't not respond. That's just what I figured out about myself. Okay, question number 2. His response was, seeing how you enjoy it and how you feel rewarded by helping to improve others. It's really nice to see you being positive about this work, knowing that you are making a difference for others. That one really meant a lot because back in January, when him and I made this decision that I was going to take a break from teaching, that's exactly what he said to me. It came out of the blue. I had no idea that he was going to say this. He just turned to me in the middle of January. It was just him and me in the living room, and he's like, I have to tell you something that I've been feeling like I need to say out loud, but I'm scared to say it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? I had no idea what he was even going to say. And then he's like, I think you should coach full time because of how happy it makes you. And I was just completely floored because I've been feeling the same nudge too, but I didn't want to say it to him because I totally thought he was going to think I was crazy. But this is totally just where I'm meant to be right now. So he sees that, which, obviously I'm not in this for the money. I'm in this because I'm super passionate about seeing people change their lives. So he sees that in me, which is nice. Question number 3. His best advice, 2 words, be patient. He elaborated a little bit more, but he just stressed just to all of the spouses and the people in your life that are skeptical, just be patient. And he said, if your spouse puts in the time, the money part should come. Make sure to give her time to do the work, but make sure that she leaves plenty of family time as well so that the business does not consume her. which it totally can consume me if I let it, because I love doing it. And when you're passionate about something, you just love continuing to do it, and you don't feel like it's work. Like I don't. And so he sees me on my phone, and all he sees is me with my face buried in my phone, when really I'm having like this really deep conversation with a girl who's struggling to love herself again. But he doesn't see that, because I'm not going to share all the gory details of, my conversations with people. But so that was his advice, which I thought I didn't expect him to say the be patient part, but it's totally true, because he was really skeptical at first that this would even pan out to anything financially substantial. But he sees the value in it. And number 4. He said, trust and support her as much as possible. Get to know the basics about the business just so you are more comfortable with it. And then he said, I don't need or care to understand all of the tiny details of how the business model works, so I leave that part up to her. He is amazing. I just have to say that. And the fact, we've had conversations about this, because he said, what can I do to help you in this business? And honestly, the biggest thing that I want is just in random conversation with people that we know to, if people are like, oh, I see Andrea's doing this thing online, what is that all about? Just to have him say things that are supportive of it, so that people don't think that it's weird or sketchy or a pyramid scheme or, all the things that these skeptics think, but that it's a legitimate job. And that all of us impact people's lives, and can build a business on that. So that's the one request I had for him. And so I think this is kind of his response to that, is just to support your wife in doing this, or your girlfriend or your friend or your daughter or whatever it is. So that's the spouse perspective on this. So we're going to move on, because I could talk all night on that, and we're already 20 minutes in here. Okay. So business hours. I have been talking about setting business hours for a long time, because I've known that this is kind of a struggle for me, is this whole balance of work and life. And honestly, I have not officially set business hours on the weekend, but during the week, I really try not to do a whole lot of work from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and just work 8 to 10. But you need to set whatever hours you need so that you have time to relax, time to be with other people. I'm all in this, so I get up at 4:30 so that I get my workout done then, and I also work a little bit after that before I hop in the shower. So I squeeze little nuggets in all throughout the day, but come summer next week, I'm going to need to set some office hours so that I'm able to be present for Mari, because it's going to be her and me home all day. So I will let you know on what I decide on the team page, and we can maybe have a brainstorm session on ways to do that. But along with this, the whole reason that we are choosing to be coaches, most of us, is to actually create more freedom in our life. So to be completely tied to your phone is not the reason we did this. So that's another reason that you definitely want to set boundaries and be okay with not responding to something right away, even though it's exciting and you get those butterflies when someone messages you and says, can you tell me more? We really need to keep that sacred, those hours with our family and friends, separate from work. Let's see. Oh, a couple things to get creative with as far as sneaking things in. I always do my personal development in the car. I've been listening to books on Audible, or I do podcasts. So I get all of my personal development in, one of the 4 vital behaviors, while I'm driving or while I'm cleaning. So like vacuuming, I'll put my headphones in, or sometimes when I'm getting ready in the morning, like drying my hair, I'll put headphones in. But I always try to multitask during personal development. Or You know, if you have young kids, it could be during nap time. You know, you do your power hour then, or wake up really early or stay up late, because if you are wanting this, you're going to make sacrifices in your life, and sleep might be one of them in the beginning until you build a strong enough team where you don't have to wake up quite so early or stay up quite so late. But you don't want to take your foot ever completely off the gas. You need to still be making those connections and having your power hours and things like that if you want to continue to build momentum. All right. So speaking of power hour, if those of you who don't know what one is, we have a team-wide power hour on Team Pivot once a month so that you can kind of get a feel for it. And then you do them on your own as often as you like to. Obviously, the more often you do them, the more contacts you'll have and the more Success Club points you'll probably have. But this is kind of the outline of what you do during a power hour. So during 60 minutes of time, you can set a timer and just break this up into chunks. You have 5 people. Actually, this should be backwards. So the 5 people to start a conversation with, those would be people just to make a connection with and not talk about Beachbody, not talk about fitness, but just to build that relationship and trust and not be creepy about it, but legitimately want to get to know them better. And then you'll have 5 people that you've already been talking to that you can maybe invite to something. So invite them to a free group, invite them to a paid group, invite them to the coaching opportunity, whatever they would fit into the best. And then you'd have a different list of 5 people that you're going to follow up with. So these are people that have said no in the past, said no because they didn't have time, said no because they didn't have enough money. Whatever the reason is, you should always have a building list of people who have said no to you before so that you can always draw from that list and follow up with them later and say, hey, it's been a couple of months. I have another group coming up, wondering if it's something you would at all consider thinking about or maybe not. So just let me know, something like that. And then also a list of anyone in your current challenge groups, just so you can touch base with them and see how they're doing. And then if you have any other time in your power hour, this is when I also type up content for Facebook. So my posts on my like page, I have a Google Doc where I type those up ahead of time and then I copy paste them into my like page with an image. So I spend time, those come from my personal development. They come from conversations that I have with people about ordering when they have an objection and say, no, not right now. Then I can, formulate a post based on something they said. Lots of different, avenues that I get information from for my like page content. All right, almost done here, guys. Wanted to keep it short tonight. Okay, so work-life balance. Personal development is so huge. I know I stress this. I know I post videos on our team page, things for you to watch and learn from. But if you aren't constantly growing and stretching yourself and becoming more mature and, seeing things from a different angle, you are going to get completely stomped on. Because if you hear no from all these people, I hear a lot of no's, you guys. I hear no, it's not for me. That can wear on you if you don't have a mindset of confidence and knowing that you're in this for the right reasons. And that a no from somebody isn't a slam on you, because it feels like that at first when I wasn't doing personal development at the beginning. I took it personally and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. No one is saying yes to me. And it was so hard to focus on the fact that some people did say yes because so many people were saying no. But through personal development, it's the only way that I've been able to stay strong and fight the fear and fight the self-doubt, because it can completely swallow you if you don't. So if you are not doing personal development, and a lot of coaches don't at the beginning because they don't feel like it's vital, once you start doing it, you will feel the reason why it's stressed as one of the vital behaviors. So also know on this is something that I've learned through personal development, is that if people are upset with what you're doing, or they are, slamming on you or making you doubt yourself, those are the people they have so much insecurity and self-doubt on their own life that they are just taking it out on you. So if you are out there being confident and, you're smiling selfie and join my group and whatever it is that you're putting out there, and you get criticism from somebody else, that person is the one with the issue. So do not take that personally at all. That is not your issue. That is their issue. Please remember that. Please, please, please. Let's see. Okay, so I've been listening to Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy. I recommend it if you have not read it. And there is a lot of text on family not being supportive. So if that is something that you struggle with, there is a lot of information on that. And just know that it's not that they're not supporting you, probably. It's more that they probably don't understand. And some people like to, bring your dreams down a little bit, sadly, because they themselves don't dream big. And so they don't understand why some people are willing to take risks and step out of the norm and do something different. Now, there's also a lot of people on Facebook that are really salesy. And so they think that because you're a coach and wanting people to join something, they automatically lump you in with all of those people that copy and paste things from their corporate or somebody up above them and don't put themselves into it. But that's not what this team is about. This team is about authenticity and you sharing your story and never copy pasting something. Because when people copy paste something and you see someone from a company, and then you see another friend selling the same stuff from the same company, and they both have the exact same post with the same emojis and everything, you know that that's not really their voice, and that just feels icky. And that's not what we do here, so they're probably lumping you in with all of those other companies on Facebook, on social media that are selling things, and it's just going to take some time to show them that that's not what this is about. So just know that it's coming from a good place. They care about you if they're family. And just give them time and maybe just have a real conversation with them. And this may take, like I said on this slide, some personal development so that you can have the confidence to have that conversation. All right, lastly, before we end, there are definitely some non-negotiables, but along with that, be okay with not doing everything on the to-do list. So set a very small non-negotiable to-do list in order to make your work part of life successful so that your family and relationship part of life can flourish. Because if you do everything on your to-do list, you will not have any time for anyone, ever. So definitely the 4 vital behaviors, which if you're new, the 4 vital behaviors are to be a product of the product, which simply means you are doing your workouts, drinking Shakeology, and talking about it on social media. That's number 1. Number 2 is personal development. Okay, we just talked about that. So you are bettering your mind, and it can be on any topic, just making you a better human being in some way. And then the third one is invite, 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 which we replace with connect, connect, connect. Building those relationships with people so that you can have those conversations about, where they're at with their fitness and their nutrition. And then the fourth one, which is kind of new, is recognition. So you are recognizing your challengers, you're recognizing coaches on your team, you are just giving people shout outs and supporting them and lifting them up and encouraging them. So that would be a definite non-negotiable I would suggest to put on your to-do list. And then, guys, those are the nitty-gritty basics. And if you're doing those things, those are really all you need to do. The the like page, the boosts, the everything else, which I highly recommend doing, those can go by the wayside. Because if you're doing the 4 vital behaviors, that's really all you need. And then when you get more time or you get more creative with your time, then you can fit in those other things. Like when you really master your like page, you can message me and I can plug you into the advanced Facebook training where you can, add hundreds of people to your like page through very targeted ads. And there's so much you can learn with this, but if you keep it simple at the beginning, you will keep the people around you happy because you aren't going to be completely immersed in it. That's a struggle for me because I'm really passionate about it. But having that balance is going to keep the people in your life happy and supporting you on this journey instead of looking at you and being like, why are you always working on this business? Well, he knows I'm passionate about it. He knows I love it. So he's torn because he wants to support me, but he also feels like I'm not attentive to our family, which has changed recently, which has made a world of a difference. To put on those blinders and be like, this is family time, this is work time, and just to have these compartments so that we can, have that balance in life, which is really what this is all about, is more freedom. So I am going to stop my screen share. All right, so do any of you have any questions or comments or anything like that? If you do, you can unmute yourself. Remember, I'm a teacher, so I'm used to waiting. This is not awkward for me. If you've got a question brewing in your brain. No questions? All right, well, if you do, you can ask them on the team page. But I thank you so much for being here and listening and just being on the live call, because it shows that you're committed to this, and I love that, because that's where I'm at in life, is 100% commitment to this. All right, you guys have a good night, and we'll see you on the page.